It is Saturday, February 22nd, 2025, and the most incompetent mayor in politics, the worst mayor in LA history, just publicly axed her fire chief, blamed her fire chief for the disastrous LA fires. Wait till you see this, a complete disgrace. Also, President Trump has just purged top brass at the Pentagon, taking the extraordinary step of firing the chairman of the Joint Chiefs and 5 other senior Pentagon officers. The media calling this the politicization of the U.S. military. Is it really? I don't think so. Why he did this, why it was necessary, we'll explain. And Donald Trump packing heat yesterday at the governor's meeting, calling out Maine's governor to her face, saying in front of the entire room, in front of the cameras, enjoy your life after governor because you'll have none in elected politics. This was great, but before we get started, thank you for liking and sharing these videos. It really helps out the channel, and consider subscribing so you don't miss these regular updates. The worst mayor in California history, in Los Angeles history, Karen Bass, has just made a mockery out of her city yet again, an utter embarrassment after failing to take any responsibility for the worst fire in LA history 2 months ago or last month, deciding to throw her fire chief under the bus. This just happened, announcing the results of LA's investigation into the fires and spinning it to blame Kristen Crowley for the complete botched preparation and handling of the Pacific Palisades fire, the most destructive fire in LA history. This is a desperate move, desperation. Karen Bass being the most unpopular mayor in the entire nation. Her approval ratings are at rock bottom levels, and like everything this woman does, she didn't do this for the good of her city. She did it for her own selfish reasons, thinking there's a chance, a small chance, she may survive politically if she can move the blame to someone else. That's what just happened.
Let me just say that yes, as the mayor of the city, the buck stops with me. I am in charge. However, the person in charge of the fire department, as I mentioned before, whenever there was a fire emergency, a weather emergency, or a hint of a problem, I am contacted directly, and not just by Chief Crowley, but by any of the heads of the departments. As you know, we have over 40 departments.
Announcing her decision on X to fire Kristen Crowley, writing this, acting in the best interest of Los Angeles public safety and for the operations of the Los Angeles Fire Department, I have removed Kristen Crowley as fire chief. 1,000 firefighters were sent home on Chief Crowley's watch. The day the fires broke out, Chief Crowley refused to do an after-action report on the fires. These require her removal. And look, I don't have any love for Kristen Crowley, but the buck stops with the mayor, with Mayor Karen Bass. You run the city. You were the one sipping cocktails in Ghana when the fires broke out. You were the one who refused to meet the fire department's budget requests multiple times. You were the one who sent half of your fire department's supplies to where? Ukraine, as a publicity stunt. You were the one who authorized the Santa Ynez Reservoir to be drained empty, 117 million gallons of water, 117 million drained, and then you let it sit empty for a year, all because of a 3-inch tear in the cover, in the nylon cover that sits atop the reservoir. This was the reservoir that feeds the fire hydrants in Pacific Palisades. This is largely the reason why those fire hydrants were empty, why the firefighters didn't have the tools to fight the blaze. And then when she was asked about this 2 days ago, just 2 days ago, questioned about this, and again taking zero accountability, instead blaming her Ghana trip on someone else. Watch.
When I talked about it with the fire chief, what she said is that we have warnings of Santa Ana winds a lot, but predicting this, and you saw, from the city, from the county, that level of preparation really didn't happen. So it didn't reach that level to me to say something terrible could happen and maybe you shouldn't have gone on the trip.
Why didn't it
But to
happen?
me, I don't know. I mean, I think that that's one of the things we need to look at. So 2 investigations are taking place. one internal to the city, and that's the Fire Commission, because that's mandated by the city charter. So the commission will hire an outside entity to examine everything, the pre-deployment, why were firefighters sent home, all of that should have taken place that didn't. And then also the governor has contracted with the Fire Safety Research Institute, which is a national institute that investigated what happened in the fires in Maui. So everything that happened, including that, needs to be examined. But I will tell you that I felt absolutely terrible not being here for my city and not being here for my family.
Let me know in the comments if you think Karen Bass should immediately resign, or if you think she's right and it's actually the fault of LA's fire chief. In another story, President Trump just fired 6 of his top military brass, including the chairman of the Joint Chiefs and 5 other top Pentagon bosses, announcing retired 3-star General Dan Raising Kane as his replacement to be the new chairman of the Joint Chiefs, something that is very unusual. The first time in history a 3-star general will ascend to the highest post in the U.S. military.
On the top, and I look down, and there's these handsome people. Everybody's like from a movie set. Good-looking guys. I get down the stairs, and what's your name? My name is Kane, sir. What's your first name? They call me Raisin. I say, wait a minute, your name is Raisin Kane? I love you. I've been looking for you for 5 years. You are the great. This is what I want.
The media and Trump critics quickly coming out to claim he's politicizing the U.S. military, that he's taking an apolitical organization and politicizing it for his personal gain. That's the argument. That's what they're saying. But let's not forget, this is the principal advisor, the principal military advisor to the president. And there's nothing wrong with this. Trump's the commander-in-chief. Under our Constitution, we have a civilian-led military, and the president, as the commander-in-chief, has every right to pick his chief military advisor, whoever he wants, whoever makes him feel most comfortable. I don't think there's anything wrong with this move at all. In another story, the media and the swamp coming for Elon Musk, gunning for him. They moved this week from a legal avenue of attack using the judicial system to fight Elon and Doge to a political avenue of attack after failing consistently last week in the judiciary, after the courts ruled consistently in President Trump's favor that yes, Elon and Doge, both of them are 100% constitutional, that there is no constitutional crisis. Dems and their henchmen in the press realizing that all that's left, all they can do at this point is try to manipulate Trump into firing Elon. We reported this yesterday. Well, now they have started using their left-wing fixed polls and fake grassroots movement to gaslight the public into thinking Americans are unhappy with Elon, that Americans don't approve of cutting waste, fraud, and abuse. Watch.
Members of Congress in red districts are facing pushback from voters in town halls. We know that Americans voted for you on immigration and the economy, but these voters say they're angry and frustrated by these firings. They don't like the work of Elon Musk and these other actions. What do you say to them?
Who do you work for?
I work for ABC News, sir.
Who?
ABC News.
No wonder. Let me just tell you that I have today the highest poll numbers I've ever had. I have today the highest poll numbers of any Republican president ever. We haven't even checked the Democrats, but that's what I was just told. And they like the job that we're doing. They like the job that Elon's doing. He's doing something that a lot of people wouldn't have the courage to do.
It's a joke how they think we're stupid enough to buy this. Luckily, President Trump seeing right through it, writing on X this morning in response to all this Elon criticism, saying Elon's doing a great job in all caps, but I would like to see him get more aggressive. Remember, we have a country to save, but ultimately to make greater than ever before. And we know that these are fixed polls, right? They're fixing these polls. What they do, cherry picking the participants and the data to fit their narrative. In fact, Kayleigh McEnany decided to dig into the crosstabs of CNN's latest poll. Look what she found. Watch.
I decided to have some Friday fun and dig through the crosstabs of a CNN poll. And I found some interesting things. So you remember the threat to democracy rhetoric. So they're still using it. They're saying Elon Musk, he's a special government employee, he's a threat to democracy, taking him to the courts. Well, the American people aren't buying it. This. Look closely. Okay, so at the bottom, you see 2021. 56% of Americans believe democracy is under attack. Who was president then? Joe Biden. Doesn't get much better the next year. 52% believe this. 2023, 54%. Majority of Americans say democracy is under attack with Biden. Oh, wait, but this morning I find that number has fallen 11% to 45%. So keep making the argument about Doge, but the American people don't seem to be buying it.
In another story, fireworks exploding at the National Governors Association meeting yesterday between President Trump and Maine's Democrat governor, calling her out to her face for being the only state not complying with his federal executive directive to end men participating in women's sport, telling her, we are the federal law. You better do it. You better comply. Otherwise, you're not getting any federal funding. And by the way, enjoy your life after governor, because I don't think you'll have one in elected politics. This is great. Watch.
The NCAA has complied immediately, by the way. That's good. But I understand Maine. Is Maine here, the governor of Maine? Well, are you not going to comply with it? We are the federal law. Well, you better do it. You better do it, because you're not going to get any federal funding at all if you don't. And by the way, your population, even though it's somewhat liberal, although I did very well there, your population doesn't want men playing in women's sports. So you better comply, because otherwise you're not getting any federal funding.
See you in court.
Every state, good. I'll see you in court. I look forward to that. That should be a real easy one. And enjoy your life after governor, because I don't think you'll be in elected politics.
All right, that wraps up this episode. Like, subscribe. We'll see you next time.